Peace and light, family. I hope that you are well. So I've been keeping up with the news that's going on about the situation between Trump and Iran. And I'm saying Trump and Iran instead of America and Iran because that's what I'm about to speak on. So essentially, Trump ordered some attacks that ended up killing the Iranian general. And of course, Iran is very upset about that. So I've been keeping up with the news with it. And of course, people have been saying like it's a potential that it could be a World War III. We could be going to war, and there are a lot of like funny, hilarious memes floating around like about how black people feel about this and how people feel about this in general. And then Colin Kaepernik spoke out today, and essentially he said, America's imperialism is not a new thing and not a new experience, and it's unfair how they basically enforce imperialism against black and brown people. And if you don't know what imperialism is essentially just like America's method of enforcing their power on other countries by using their military and weapons to enforce their power. So when you live in an imperialistic country like America, they go to other countries and enforce their power through the military, right? So you'll notice that America sets up shop in these countries, and then they call themselves like enforcing democratic power or trying to enhance democracy in these countries, but really it's just America trying to make these countries follow their way of living and their way of thinking, right? Now, Colin Kaepernik said that, this is nothing new of them going and doing this in black and brown countries. And I really, really that touched me, because before he even made that statement, I was having a conversation with a friend about like if America was to go to war and how me as a black woman feel about this. And I was like, look, if they try to draft me, they're gonna be mad because I might end up fighting with the ops. Like I might end up flipping sides. And I mean, I know it's very dang, my friend, she immediately responded like, if anybody is reading these these messages, I didn't say it. And it's funny because, a lot of people feel like, oh, the government is watching, but that's a real feeling and a real fear. And if the government is watching this video, I hope the thing that you take away from it is that, like, as black people, we are torn. We are torn in this situation because how can we fight for a country that when we are in that country, we have to fight against? American imperialism is not only affecting other black and brown countries, it affects black and brown people here in this country. We are forced to live in a country where we have no respect, where it's difficult for us to gain prosperity, where we can't even really truly own land because if we don't pay property tax, our land is taken even if you think you own it. American imperialism is a real thing, and they start at home. Enforcing that military power, enforcing that government power, mass incarceration, putting drugs in the black community, putting guns in the black community so that we can kill each other off, causing these fake beefs between gangs, which gangs were originally started as brotherhoods to help uplift the community. But you add drugs, you add guns, you add competition, and of course it turns to something negative. And we are still trying to reclaim that power, but everything we try to do to build up as black and brown people gets taken away from us. However, we're supposed to fight for this country. We are supposed to go out to other countries and battle against them because they are trying to fight against the very thing that we are fighting against right here at home. If you pay attention, imperialism, America enforcing its power in other countries only happens in black and brown countries. They don't try to enforce their power in France. They're not trying to enforce their power in Germany. They're not trying to enforce their power in any other of these European countries. It's only in African countries, only in Middle Eastern countries, only in countries where you have black and brown people predominantly. Only in countries where you have black and brown people where there are predominant resources that America thrives off of. It's not a fair trade thing. It's not, oh, we want to have democracy in this country and we want to be able to build a fair trading system with this country. No, it's that we want to go to this country, we want to take this shit over. The same way they come into our community so that they can take shit over. The same way they come into our education system so that they can take shit over. See, the thing about it is, I can relate more to the Iranian people than I can relate to our U.S. government, which is an issue. Iranian people are struggling right now to be able to make it from day to day because of American imperialism. Guess what? I was just in the grocery store and I had to help an elderly lady pay for her groceries because she said her disability was cut because she got a Parent Plus loan to send her daughter to college. And guess what? Her daughter cannot afford to go to college if she did not take out that Plus loan. The elderly woman could not afford to pay that Plus loan back. So the government is now garnishing her disability. She's at the grocery store counting out pennies to buy milk. Counting pennies to buy milk. There's a whole line of people behind her. The lady behind me was like, I would help her, but I ain't got it. Everybody's reaching in their pockets trying to gather what they can to help this lady pay for her groceries. That's sad, bro. This elderly woman who probably worked her whole life can't even buy groceries because she got to buy an education for her child. That's imperialism. That's imperialism. That's the effects that we have to go through as black and brown people. You got brown people right now trying to fight to stay in this country. You got black people right now trying to fight to stay in this country because they don't have a piece of paper saying it's okay to be here. Meanwhile, they're probably contributing to the economy more than the person telling them that they can't be here. That's crazy to me. But we're supposed to suit up and put on the uniform and fight for America. And I'm speaking as a person who has been to multiple countries. I have been to other countries who don't necessarily have the amenities that we have. So I do understand when people are like, oh, you should be grateful for being American because we have a lot of amenities. When I was in Ethiopia, we did not have consistently running water. When I was in South Africa, our lights were constantly being cut off. I get it. Yes, we do have a lot of amenities, a lot of tangible amenities being here in America. But are those tangible amenities worth our safety? Are they worth our peace of mind? That's truly the question. That's truly the question. So don't throw in black people's faces how we should be grateful to be American because we have running water and we have internet when I don't know if I could be able to send my child down the street without being murdered. When Trayvon Martin couldn't make it home because he was a black boy walking through a suburb. But we supposed to put on a uniform and fight for this country? You want to put up things, ads and headlines like we are going to war. We? Who's we? We've been at war. We've been at war. So when Colin Kaepernik says, oh, American imperialism against black and brown bodies is nothing new, we are the black and brown bodies that it started with. Our ancestors were taken, bro. They were taken from their homeland. That was imperialism, so that we can help build the power that America is now trying to enforce in other countries. No, it's not nothing new. It's not nothing new to past generations, and it damn sure ain't nothing new to us either. Okay? We go into our school systems. I'm an educator. We go into our school systems and we got to struggle and decide whether we can buy this book or this book because there's not enough money to afford both. We are at war. We're at war for education. We're at war for the right to breathe. We're at war for the right to have fathers in our homes so that they're not being taken to prison because of mass incarceration. That's a war that we're fighting on a daily basis. But you want us to fight against a country who is suffering from the same disease that we are suffering from, which is imperialism? We're supposed to go enforce the power of a country who is enforcing their power against us. So you want us to represent that? I just don't get it. And I don't agree with it. So when these headlines say we are at war, who is we? Who is we? I ain't got no beef with Iran. I don't. And then I was just on CNN and they said that the Trump administration is warning Congress that it's not even a question of whether Iran is going to retaliate. It's about when they will retaliate, and it can happen within weeks. So it's not even about whether or not they are going to do it. They're definitely going to retaliate for their general being killed, but it's just about when it's going to happen. That's another concern because I live in New York. I'm a New Yorker. I remember 9/11. You know how many people died in 9/11? Black and brown people, Muslim people. And see, that's what happens. We end up suffering for the choice of the government that is oppressing us as well. So not only are we being oppressed, not only are we too suffering, not only are we the victims of the same imperialism that they are enforcing against Iran, we also have to become the victims of the Iranians or whatever country decides to fight against the imperialism that we too are fighting against. Listen to that logic. Listen to that logic. The very thing we are fighting against, you want us to go to another country and fight for. And then what would have happened? The same thing that happened in 9/11, where this country is trying to fight against imperialism. They end up doing strikes or retaliating against us, and then we get mad. We get mad. Black folks get mad. Why? Because we may have had family members who died in the towers. We have family members who lost jobs because those towers are no longer there. People who could no longer sustain, family members who were firefighters, police officers who died trying to rescue other people who were in those towers. So then we get angry. And then we say, oh, well, we going to war? Let's go then. What's up? We going to war. No. We are not going to war. It's unfair. It's unfair that people who reflect us, people who look like us, are supposed to be killed at our own hands. It's another form of black on black, brown on brown, color on color crime because of imperialism. It's no different from them putting crack in our community, putting guns in our community. Right now, what they're putting in our community is a toxic narrative that these people are against us. They're not against us. They are against the same toxic imperialistic government that we are fighting against as well. Do I appreciate being American? Absolutely, I appreciate being born in America. I do recognize that we have a lot of amenities that a lot of other countries do not have. I do recognize that, and I'm grateful for that. But do I feel like America is fair? Absolutely not. Do I feel like America loves and appreciates my black body? Absolutely not. Do I feel like I can successfully raise a black son in America without having fear that he will die at the same hands that are supposed to protect them? Absolutely not. These are things that we have issues with. These are things that prevent me and my family from being able to be successful in America. But you want us to go fight for them? My son, it's like my child would have two choices. Either you go and you join the military or you go to prison. That's the system that America has set up for us as black people, brown people. So we are going to war. We've been at war, but we are at war with the same system that Iran is at war with, that many other countries are at war with. I'm just not with it. That's it.